Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Neil's Weirdo. Yeah.
I'm really glad you named your show after me, Scott.
Yeah, you know, what can I say?
I'm gonna have to sue you though.
I'm fine with that because I spell it the correct way with an I.
If I sued you, we'd probably have to appear in the same court.
Not necessarily. I could send a lawyer. I just give him power of attorney.
But don't you want to come in person?
Care to rephrase?
Don't you want to come in person with me?
Moving on.
Present.
I'll give my power of attorney to Josh, and he can kind of handle it.
Oh, that'd be cool.
Be like, go handle your child.
I thought Josh had grown a mustache the other day. I tuned into stream and I was like, what? I kind of liked it though.
What, when you saw me and Josh hanging out?
No, it was just Josh. Actually, it wasn't. It was Josh and Lightning. Sorry, he's replaced you. He's moved on, by the way.
Oh, that's fine. I'm cool with it. All right, moving on. Jake, you obviously grabbed the horsey and whatnot, and you sorry, the guy whatnot, and you're gonna head back to go meet with the others. Neil, you're gonna get reports because this is of course the next day. Let's just get where we are on the actual map, so we can go to the combat layer, and we'll switch over to BAM, and we'll switch over to here. So over on this map here, because another day has transpired, the army of Aurorum actually has left finally the city, and they've traveled down to this hex here because they're traveling. Oh, sorry, no, they moved 2 a day, right? So they have been able to travel to. If I can control them, I've been able to travel. I am not showing them on stream. They were in the city, so they were here. And they've just traveled down to here. So they're almost to where it is, the little circle that you have there, right here, which is where it is that you want them to be. Okay. Yeah. So more or less, if you guys left, you can kind of meet them there if you had left today, but obviously that's not going to be the case because you currently have the small group of, what's his name there? One is kind of off in this direction over here, where he went chasing after that guy in his small little army. So they kind of went down to here-ish, where you were able to find him. So that's where things currently sit with Haude Gwenh and whatnot. Now, don't forget, too, that the Free Folk, because another day has passed with them, the Free Folk are also on their approach. So as we're going into the next day, you finally get a night of rest. Oh, Neil, you wanted to speak to the peoples. You wouldn't be able to talk to them today anyways. It'd be till the next day because they need to seek lots of injury. If I remember correctly, Neil, we had actually rolled for how many people had survived. It was a lot of them. I think it was 140 died and 60 lived. Or is it vice versa? 160 died and 40 lived?
That was with some liberal wanting of murder on your part because there were 2 armies involved. You lied, 2 attacks. It's double the deaths.
It sounds like you're telling lies. It's hard for me to understand you. I'm sorry.
That's fine. Don't worry. The truth falls on deaf ears.
On death's ears? Oh, jeez, you're always so morbid.
I said deaf.
Yeah, why are you so terrible?
Oh my God, you're not that old, Scott. I know you're sitting there with your hood up and like, I'm in my basement.
I also can't find where you rolled these things, right? Here we go.
Up.
Yeah, is it the 7 and the 8?
God, I don't know. I think it's after. It's got to be.
140 dead.
Oh, that's right. 70%. That's right. 70% of 200 had died. That's right. So it's 140 dead, 60 had lived. That's right. So that's how it works. So 70% are dead. So 60 people are alive. So obviously it's going to seriously tax your peoples to do this. What I need you to make for me, Neil, so we can jump ahead to this point, is you're going to roll for me a loyalty check for your peoples.
Plus 16. Okay.
That's fine, whatever. I still haven't completely set myself back up from when I wiped everything at the suggestion of.
Nice.
There we go. We're good here.
Fucking fantastic.
Okay,
literally,
so
it's like you don't want that 18. Nah, have the 2.
What happens is oh, hi mommy, how you doing? So my mom had texted me, are you working today? And my response was, yep. https://www.twitch.tv/Daelric. So clearly,
that's a funny joke, Scott.
She clicked the link. So, what was I saying? Mom, you should have seen the little clip of Brittany brewing coffee. Let's just say it was, yeah. Moving on. So you try to get your people to do this healing thing, to work on it. Now, it's not directly you that handles it, of course, or even just your kingdom by itself. It's actually Kithel that handles it, and Kithel has kind of a softer hand. So what ends up happening is he goes to get the supplies and goes to get people to volunteer and whatnot. He doesn't, unfortunately, find many volunteers that are willing to aid these people, whether they be the actual persons of Rid, which already feel invaded by the number of refugees coming in, or even the refugees of Haude Gwenh, which don't really associate themselves with the army of Haude Gwenh and kind of want to be like, no, we're not them. We swear. Like, yeah, we're them, but we're not them. You know what I'm saying? You know, like we're not them. And so you end up having Kithel coming back to speak with you again. So quick little RP with you. Kithel comes back and informs you of the situation, the lack of numbers, and says a bit of good news. While the number of volunteers happen to be low and supplies unfortunately seem to be missing with this task, I did happen to find a particular person who would be willing to aid us. You've met him once before, in Kurzfall. He was hired by Elliot to handle the keep to the west. He happens to be in Rid and claims to be quite the adept healer, magically so even, which could aid us. But he has a steep request.
Yes.
It seems as though he has a bit of a habit, and he would like to have that habit ever flowing. Whether it be a mug or a cask, he would like to have the taverns of Kurzfall or any of the towns of Valorin pop their corks for him.
For how long for?
He's willing to aid potentially even every injured on the battlefield with his magics, claiming to have that kind of power. And in exchange, a lifetime supply of alcohol. I imagine if he goes down this path, he will not be living very long, but it is his request. I can give him a tentative yes, and we can see whether or not his claim of having such power is real.
If he heals these wounded, then we can discuss the terms of a lifetime supply. A lifetime supply is not unlimited. That could be a single ale every week.
Sound like an American.
I'm not saying we...
Lifetime supply of Wendy's. That's one $2 burger a week. There's a month for the rest of your life.
It's not skimp the man, if he can do as he says. But let's not overpay the bastard either.
I don't think an ale a week is what he has in mind. Perhaps 2 ale a day is something he might be more amicable for. I despise the fact that I'm arguing on his behalf for this request.
No, but perhaps a barrel of moonshine for 1 week. That ought to pay and deal with the problem, I think.
A barrel of moonshine a week?
Yes. I'd say perhaps we'd have to pay out 3 barrels.
He just nods and says, okay, I'll inform him a barrel of moonshine a week, and I imagine this will be an appropriately sized barrel.
An appropriately sized barrel that I will pay for personally.
He nods. He goes and he informs them. The next morning, when you go to address the people, you find out that apparently a very drunk and very strange and awkward man that you met beforehand has successfully cast Cure Light Wounds 60 times on every single solitary injured soldier there. He literally cast Cure Light Wounds on 60 people in one night. He spent more time as he was getting intoxicated, blubbering on about details that maybe those people didn't want to hear about, but he seemed to open up and become more personable the drunker he got. Then he did actually casting spells. He had to be like moved to the next person. But yeah, he apparently is quite the powerful healer indeed, and successfully did so. That's good news because it looks incredibly powerful on behalf of your realm to these to the survivors. But he did successfully cast it 60 times. As you are going to uphold your end of the bargain and feed this man.
He looks like, in Indiana Jones when they open the Ark of the Covenant. He looks like midway before, as everyone's like shriveling. He's like midway through that process. He's like, ah. Do you know that reference, Scott? Or is that?
I have seen Ark of the Covenant many times since before you were born, Neil.
Mm-hmm,
I had a proper upbringing.
Boomer.
I played with many Star Wars toys before you could even say the word Neil.
Excuse me.
That's right. That's right. I've even seen the original Star Wars.
What do you mean?
Zoomer.
Wow. Of course, if you're referring to like the original where like before they replace bits, then I have. I had that shit on VHS.
Yeah, VHS is the edited version, though.
No, it wasn't.
Yeah, VHS is literally...
Mine had a... No, it wasn't. I had a gold... Well, what edit are we talking about here? Because I might not actually...
So we actually talked about this recently in Discord. Teeny tiny tangent. There was the original version that was released theatrically that you could pretty much only ever see in theaters. Then there was the VHS version for the re-release on VHS in the early 90s that had like some slight edits to it that were done. And then there was the remastered version that came out in the aughts in preparation for the shitty prequels that came out. So there's 3 versions technically of the OG trilogy.
What's the difference between the first and the second?
So like for instance, the scene where Jabba the Hutt and Han Solo have a conversation,
where he
that didn't exist in the original. That's one of the other ones. Somebody walking in front of the camera as Han shot first, that didn't exist in the so you can see he clearly did shoot first, but they walk in front of it. Things like that.
Yeah, no, that is in the second version. He clearly shoots him.
Oh, is that? Oh, so it must be the third version
see,
of the walking. Yeah.
This gives me such catharsis. I've never understood the like hand shot first meme because I was like, yeah, he did. Like he pulls a gun and shoots them.
So you saw the edited version? I only saw the OG version because I have a cool uncle that brought me to theaters to see like things that he was like a long haired. I'm pretty sure he smoked pot. But
I have an uncle like that.
Yeah.
Well, maybe not the pot bit, but long hair, cool dude. Yeah.
He would never admit to it nowadays. He married a librarian, and they go to church like religiously, like every week, and they're super like conservative.
They go to church religiously. Yeah. What?
Yeah, I know. Like they're like they went from like being, I'm pretty sure, smoke pot cool uncle that like lived in Cambridge, Mass to like, pardon me, that is not the way we compose ourselves. So it's like one of those, you know that uncle.
Oh my god.
Anyways, so moving on. So you go to speak with them, and then we'll have Jake will join you in a moment.
I think Wherein would walk among them for a little while, like assessing the situation. They've all been healed miraculously, and holy crap, they look pretty good.
None of them are on their deathbed. There probably will be some degree of disease and whatnot that you're going to have to deal with, but none are on their deathbed. Some of them are actually doing quite well, but they are, we'll say, quarantined by your army.
That's fair. That's reasonable. In that case, Ronan will like wander amongst them, as I said, to get an idea of how they're doing, or like ask maybe a couple of people. He'd like the politician mingle, where it's like, shake hands, okay, we're never meeting again. And then he'd go and pick a position where most of them are clustered, and he would take position and shout.
Now, quick question. Do you have familiar faces with you? For instance, Hinta and Kithul with you, so that you're not like walking around by yourself?
Kithul would definitely be with him.
Any other soldiers or anything like that? Because there is 60 of them and one of you.
I mean, there's an army standing by, right?
Yeah,
These guys are not armed.
Yes, but it's a matter of a reaction time because.
Yeah. I guess it would make sense to bring maybe 12 soldiers.
Okay, but not necessarily like immediately around you, like close by.
Diffused.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Perfect. Go ahead.
And then he'd pick a side. Maybe as hilarious as this is, have a box brought or something, because there's 60 people here. Raising up makes it a lot easier to see and hear Rayron. And then he'd address them and ask for their attention.
Mm-hmm.
Let me see. Do I have an appropriate spell for this?
Yeah, you have the reroll spell.
Yeah, I might go ahead and pop one of those bad boys down. Yeah, let's use a fallback strategy. Right, okay. People of Haude Gwenh, I applaud you on your valiant fight. And I offer you now an opportunity to never have to fight again. To lay down your swords forever and live in peace. Reed is a welcoming community who can't. Please stop. That is not a clawing post. That is my leg.
They're like, in fact, there are lots of cats in Haude Gwenh, but we like them because they eat the rats in Haude Gwenh. The rats are what we call the Englishmen.
Where was I? Where was I? The people of Reed have opened their doors, their homes, their hearths, and allowed refugees from Haude Gwenh to take up residence around the settlement. I would extend this offer to you as well on certain conditions. Should you be interested, they can be relayed to you. They will be the same conditions provided to the refugees. You'll be subject to our laws. Obviously, I would want no fighting. However, should you not wish this, you are free to go your own way. I would encourage you to stay. There will come a time where you have to make a choice about becoming a citizen or not. However, surviving now in the winter will be harder than if you survive in the spring.
Roll your diplomacy check. Everybody like how Neil put on his Parliament voice. Surviving now in the winter would be more difficult than if you
will
survive in the
survive
spring.
on the beaches.
And then just like Parliament, you hear like, oh! Yes. It is fun watching British politics because they're like angry and show
It's live streamed. It's live streamed all the time.
Yeah, we're so funny. All right. So, anyways, it's so funny. It just makes you think of like an uproarious classroom and a teacher trying to like quiet, quiet, like a substitute teacher.
The speaker slagged someone. I think it was Boris. The speaker like proper slagged him off before standing down. It was great.
Well, anyways, so you give your speech to the people, and somebody calls after and says, "And if we stay here, do we stay under guard, or are we free to go there?" Gesturing towards Rid.
If you stay here, I refer to this. He points towards the refugee camp. However, Tally, the mayor of the village, has not forbidden you to head within Reed. There is a small alehouse, and I assure you it could use your thriving custom.
Because Jake fails his rolls. So somebody else actually calls out and says, and if we choose to leave, do we have anything to protect ourselves against the wilds that are out there? Swords? Arms of any sorts? Or should we just fall prey to whatever brigands happen to be on the road?
If you choose to leave, you understand that I cannot arm you for war. You would not receive any piece of your armor back. However, if deemed appropriate, we could arm you.
And he just leaves it at that? Okay, sorry. That sounded like you're going to say something else.
He was considering it, but he's like, this is an open forum now. If this guy wants to respond, he can.
No. It's kind of like random crowd, like, oh, you know. They kind of like listen to the words and whatnot, and somebody else will kind of like listening to the crowd, like a minute or so passes. Somebody else calls out and says, when do we have to have our decisions by? Others like, oh, you cat. Same thing that Niels told the other cat. I'm a human, not a piece of wood or carpet.
Oh, he does look like a piece of wood with some carpet on it. No, he doesn't.
Want
some
to
carpet
get
on
some
his
hair up in
face.
here? She doesn't play with my face, thank God.
No, Artie doesn't touch my. She knows. She knows not to. This kid. Where do we find Scott? Wherein would I would suggest that you elect someone to speak for you. You may discuss this among yourselves for the remainder of the day. However, for you to form a camp here would be ill-advised. You can move into the refugee camp should you require longer to discuss.
Okay. And from there, we can kind of just allow things to break down and allow a little time hop to happen wherein one would come in. But you can see that they clearly have to make it's not like people are just like, this way and that way. They're going to have to kind of figure it out amongst themselves. It's probably going to be some infighting and whatnot.
So
that happens.
Wherein might speak to the men and women and find out who the highest ranking person alive is.
They are going to try not to put their foot forward. However, since motive would allow you to figure that out, or diplomacy for gathering information, I think that's a different skill for you, though.
It is. I will gather information. Diplomacy.
Subset of diplomacy. You got the same number. So you're actually able to find out who the highest ranking amongst them was. It was actually somebody who was on the deathbed prior. This would have been a lieutenant or whatever underneath the commander. And they were left on their deathbed once the commander kind of yeeted out of there. That's right. I said yeeted. I said yeet. Yeet.
I love
yeeted.
it. I love it. I live for that.
I went there. I did it. That was for you. That was for, hey, Messi. Yeet. Go ahead.
Can I have a little chat with them and sense motive?
You kind of agree.
I need to know where their sympathies lie.
Yes, you. Come here. Come here.
I know the walk of a commander. No, he's like...
Stick up the ass? So,
Wow. Oh my God, Scott, no, please.
So you...
stick up that bum.
You pull him to the side to speak with him. Yeah?
I understand from speaking to the people that you are the highest ranking individual left alive.
It's a good way to phrase it.
It is. Do you have family back in Haude Gwenh?
Maybe. I believe yes, but...
I understand your hesitance. I assure you that I mean no harm when I ask of these things. I would ask one final duty from you, if I may. Soldier's honor.
He listens.
If you would order your fellows one final time, assist them in making the decision, any which way they choose. Make sure they make a decision they are happy with. Make sure they make a decision that they will be safe doing. Just because some of them may stay without their families for a while now does not mean they will forever. At the end of these hostilities, the common people will not be harmed.
You want us to join you.
I want a united Adir. You are an Idirite, no?
It's not what I ever called it, but I'm sure it's the same thing.
Well, it always was a country of misfits.
Chuckles. You can see it's kind of pained. He was, again, on Left 4 Dead prior to.
And therefore, yes, I do want you to join us. I speak now with you candidly and ask that you do so with your men and women. I'm not asking you to persuade them to join us, but I want you to know that that is what we wish as the leaders of Valoran. Just make sure no more people have to die.
I can assure you that that's at least what's on everybody's mind.
Thank you, soldier.
And so, you know, you guys kind of go your separate ways. Like I said beforehand, a bit of a time hop, and we're going to have Jake coming up. At the same time, you're going to have, you know, kind of other things transpiring. So around the time that you're going to have one finally returning, all of his, like, they got some rest, but let's be serious. His army, himself included, Val, who went with him, everybody is just like, ugh. Like they are just beat. They're just exhausted. I mean, they've fought for what, like 30 something hours straight. Then rode after a guy, hunted him down, got him, tethered him up, maybe got like an hour or two of rest. Then traveled all the way back to the safety of Rid with your POW. I mean, it's one of those things where it's they just look dead. You've also received reports, scouts to your east, telling you that there is a massive group of people coming to the east. However, you do not believe, even though many of them are armed, you do not believe that they're here to fight. Actually, your scouts got scouted by their scouts, and they informed them that they're here to meet with you, not to engage in war with you. But you can tell by like the wide-eyedness of it, there was a lot of them. But we can get to that shortly. You also here had a runner coming from the army of Valoran, telling you that they're well on their way to speak to the meeting point where they're going to start digging in and setting up their camp down there, and also reports of what happened in the Battle of Rid. So kind of like gathering that information from you guys, to the commanders, so on and so forth around here, to bring it back, of course, to the general of the army, and the Rayron's riders. They were still sitting inactive by, what's it called? Kurzfall, correct? Or are they also heading south?
I see no reason not to have them head south as well.
Once you head them south, they become active and they start charging you a week as opposed to charging you a month. And the cost of that army is...
Yeah, it's quite a lot because they're horseback.
Yeah, they're
yeah, okay, let's leave them inactive for now at Kurzfall.
Okay. So, awesome. So you're going to leave them there, which is perfectly fine. Perfect. So, hey-oh. That's right. Take it off. Take it all off, baby. I said, nice shirt. So, one, you're coming in, kind of like, you have a scout coming in as you're kind of like getting ready to have this conversation again, Neil. A scout comes in and says, the command, chosen of the blade and chosen of the hearth have returned. They should be here in a few moments' time. Kind of like, you know, and you're like, okay, well, let's hold this meeting off. Everybody get yourself a coffee while we plan for one's return.
Well, everyone's getting a coffee, Jake. We're holding the meeting off until you arrive. You're not here yet.
Yeah, I figured. A little confused.
There's some crazy light business going on in your room right now.
Yeah, I should probably turn the TV off at some point.
I was like, it keeps going blue. This is weird. Oh my god, that sounds like a fancy TV.
That was a PlayStation.
Ah, there you go.
Suddenly, the commander tent fills with the sweet smell of gingerbread as somebody has a flavored coffee they bring in with them.
Flavored
right
coffee?
behind them. Yeah, that's right. That's right. No. Flavored coffee can be good if it's if it's done right. It can be good.
What is it? What flavor?
This happens to be gingerbread. 'Tis the season to be jolly.
I don't see it. I'm sorry, dude. Like, well, just send me some.
Would you like to give me your address, Neil?
Yeah, off camera.
Oh, of course. Jeez.
But you should give me your address on camera.
Oh, okay. I live at 555.
To be fair, I don't know. I know Scott's old address, but I don't know his current address.
That's right. I keep myself hidden.
That's why he moved. He gave it to me, and like 3 months later, he was like, "I gotta move. This guy knows where I live." Holy.
Yeah, I think I was describing something to you, so I had to, so you could look at it on Google Maps. So anyways, so you, all right, so he comes walking in. Honestly, it's one of those things where Val starts walking in, but one, he looks like a zombie, and you honestly don't know if he has any input to deliver here, because he was passing out on the ride home. So you probably give him just go to bed. Chosen of the hearth indeed. Please, go rest by one. And he is like, and you can go join the meeting as he gets Plot Yeti to sleep.
I like that mug.
Are you talking about Valorant?
Valorant, yeah.
I thought he said one for a second. I was like, oh, okay.
He did say one in there, but that's also a word as well as your name. I don't like that side. I like it plain.
Yeah, well, it's because I got it from it's a form.
It's advertising.
Yeah.
I don't know why I said that so weird. My brain really struggled with that. Advertising.
Well, it's a farm that's near where Mike grew up. So actually, I've learned of this farm through Mike back when we became friends. It's a nice place. But go ahead.
Wherein?
One. I trust the hunt went well.
Very.
Good.
I'm very tired, but we were successful.
Good. In that case, we should get Beltran back to Kurzfall.
I think that is for the best. Should I escort him personally?
We need to.
We know Haude Gwenh has spies. We just don't know who or where they are placed.
We need to speak with the free folk before we leave. We should speak with the free folk, go get some rest, and afterwards we can speak with the free folk. At which point, once we're concluded in our negotiations with them, I believe we should head back to Kurzfall. We can take Beltran there, introduce him to his mother, let them both know that each other is safe, and have him take up residence in the dungeons. At which point, we can set him under safeguard, make sure he's reasonably well looked after, and head south, possibly with the rider detachment of the army.
Sounds good. I will endeavor to go get some rest. Have him well guarded. And maybe keep it as secret, I guess, as you can, although I doubt it will last long.
Yes, I intend to go and speak with him. I'm going to let him know his mother is alive and well, that he will be seeing her.
When I have finished my rests, there is a lot of questions we must ask.
Yes, of course. Should we get the time, I would enjoy some time to relax.
As would I. And he's going to go off and get some rest.
So you guys gotta go rest.
Wherein's got to speak to Beltran.
Okay, sure, go ahead.
And also, can I just make sure he's under an appropriate guard where he's not going to be...
He was mostly knocked out for this this whole way, and of course he's going to be under the appropriate guard. And we're not talking, because he's a POW of import, so we're not talking, like, we're not dumb here. Whereas technically the rules allow, assuming some degree of captivity, you could do like 1 per 20. This one's going to be like 4 for the 1, you know what I mean? Yeah, so it's, cool. You know. Yep, you can go and speak with him, but before you guys actually do kind of split off like that, there was the news. Oh, no, never mind. That's everything. You're good. So go ahead.
Oh, no Trump yet.
No, sorry. I was thinking of, but I already gave you the information. So.
About the free folk.
Correct, yep.
Yeah. Okay.
So go ahead.
So presumably we're keeping Beltran in a building.
Correct.
For the purposes of both safety, comfort, and spying.
Mm-hmm.
Rayron would head in.
Okay.
He presumes Beltran will have a reaction when he sees him, given his previous outbursts.
So you go into the place, and he was unconscious for a very long while. He's finally, of course, actually woken up. Because of course you can imagine one was just kind of like, poof, keep him unconscious. What the? This guy suffered several concussions. He's clearly not doing very well. You can imagine he's not in sane good health. But you come walking in, and you can see recognition in his eyes, but there's also just exhaustion, pain, so on and so forth. Because he's like, "You back?" Because he's just been so beat to hell.
Beltran.
Yeah.
Would you prefer I still refer to you as Commander or General?
I prefer you go fuck yourself, but I have a feeling I'm not going to get that kind of a show today.
Yes, well, we've already done that to your army, so I think not. Now, you'll be traveling back to Kurzfall, at which point you will meet your mother. She's safe, she's well. She'll be pleased to see that you are also safe. You'll take up residence in our dungeons there. If you behave well, I will see to it that you're treated as a noble.
Cookies for the children that behave, it is.
Indeed.
And what if one of those kids slit your throat?
Well, I feel that would be quite difficult given that you are in chains.
We'll see.
Beltran. You are alive because of your mother. I suggest that you treat her with the respect that garners.
Mm-hmm.
He'd look to one of the guards, see that he's fed and watered.
Is that all?
The guard just gives me a sassy look.
Yeah, he says, is that all?
What else would you require?
No, nothing. You're dismissed.
Thank you, my lord.
Um,
He will bow overly graciously and leave. The crow stays behind and eats his eyes. No, I'm kidding. But that would have been hilarious. I was so tempted. Yeah, just like...
Sorry.
Oh god, can you imagine? That would be Rayron if he was lawful evil. And then we'd bring him along to meet his mum, and he'd be like,
Rayron has definitely given no lawful evil commands so far this session. Not a single one. Not one.
Exactly.
Oh.
And and then he'd go in and he'd be like, Mother, is that you? And she'd be like, what have you done to my son? And we'd be like, we promised him alive. He's alive.
How do I know it's my mom? I can't see her.
Oh god.
It could be a mummer's rough. Anyways, moving on. So, you leave him there. Again, next morning, you guys, I imagine, are going to want to get on horses to go meet with the free folk. Yes. Do you want to bring any group with you? I think the original idea was to bring 25 with you. You've already segmented 25 off for that little trek that you did. Just want to grab up this little group that you have. Grab Val with you. Sorry, Ray with you, and head to the northeast to meet the free folk.
Yeah, why not? Though I'm not sure it's a good idea. If there's lots of them, I'm not sure bringing 25 is that good an idea.
Why not?
Because if there's like 1,000 of them, 25 is such a measly number. Maybe like 50.
Sure. So you're gonna bring 50 with you? Sure.
Because displaying 50 well-armed guards or well-armed soldiers is
Yeah,
reasonably...
and all of you on horseback, so it's not like something small. Sure. So when you guys leave with your 50 soldiers, just the two of you, Val's going to stick behind and handle things, take care of things, and Rid and whatnot.
Stroking Belter.
He's going to take care of the details of Rid and start preparing the greater army that's going to be traveling to the south and west. Kind of getting them prepared for that, because you imagine you're going to leave today, and segmenting out who it was that you intended to leave behind here to stay and who it is that you intend to take. Either way, so you're going to head, the two of you, north and east to handle this. When you head in that direction, as you're coming around a hill, you see a very large group of people. You had suggested 1,000. 1,000 very well may be the correct number. But even from far off, when you see this vast number of people coming over here, you're like, oh, it's immediately as intimidating. Like, is that what 1,000 soldiers look like? We would die. It might even be more than 1,000. Like, it is an incredibly large number of people.
Obviously, it's more than 1,000. If it's a fighting force of 1,000, it will have a train with it, and they're nomads as well.
So, one of the things that you're going to notice as you approach, when you finally kind of go up to approach them, is the first people you come across, aside from scouts that clearly see you and make themselves known to you, like groups of 3 or 4 scouts here and there, that kind of like as you are walking by and you kind of like look up at them, at your group, they give you like the nod, like we see you, but not like we're attacking or anything.
We give them the royal wave.
Can she do that anymore? Or is carpal tunnel and just relative old age?
Excuse me?
I'm sorry.
She has the best synthetic wrist.
That was good. So you as you approach, the first peoples that you actually come across, well, while 1 or 2 of them may have swords and be armed and armored and all that stuff, are actually just people wearing skins and walking among them, or just typical cotton clothing or whatever, have clothes or whatever they have, whatever linens they have. So you happen to see that there are, in fact, warriors about, but mixed in evenly with those that are clearly combatants as well. Whether they be non-combative men, women, or children, or even elderly, there are other persons walking amongst them as well. It seems like, as you had just said, this is a nomadic group. Roll me a sense motive for the two of you as you're kind of like moving in and amongst them, because they just keep moving around past you. It's not like they see you and they stop. They just kind of like, we're going that way. They kind of like filter around you and move through you.
I like how I roll a 17 after rolling a 13, and Jay rolls a 1, and he's just like, yeah, it's still a 14.
Vaku says that's 100. It's pretty big. Yeah, I can count. 1, 2, 5, 100. Yeah.
Nice, good job.
So, you guys looking amongst them, and you get the impression that 2 things, Wherein, because 1 sucks. 2 things, that the people here don't give a crap about your 50 soldiers that are with you, because they are significantly more than that. But also, even the ones that look like they can't, that they're non-combatants, every one of them has that build to them, the gait to them, just a certain, at least degree of confidence to them that says, we are not people that are willing to lie down and take what comes our way.
Just a 3-year-old just toddling along, dagger at his hip, spits on the floor as a tries to go in front of him.
Maybe not the 3-year-olds so much. Actually, all the 3-year-olds look like that smoking. You ever see that the smoking 3-year-old? Kid, he's like legit 3 years old. He's pudgy as fuck, and he's like, I want a cigarette.
Oh my god!
And it's real. It's not even like a joke. It's like it's like
a
child addicted to cigarettes at 3.
America.
No, it's not. It's another country. It's a 3rd world country. But
wow.
Yeah.
I said America.
Oh, yeah. It's a fast slide, Yeah. Our infrastructure is kind of moving on, so like, no, we're the best country on earth. I'm driving with incredible shocks in my brand new Hummer. Yes, this is an interstate. We're proud of this. So anyways, Florida man runs for president. So you guys are You notice that they're all peoples, or at least most of them are peoples that are willing to fight. As you're filtering through them, you can eventually come to see those that are kind of carrying like the big debris of like tents and whatnot are near like the middle area. You can see that even though the people kind of like spread out, a lot of their actual supplies, their goods, are more towards the center. You had mentioned beforehand almost like a train or a caravan behind them. It's actually not true with them. It actually travels more in the middle, like the heart of them. Like all of their belongings, their goods are like behind a wall of peoples on all sides. Eventually, like as you're kind of like looking about and probably even trying to discover like who the leader is or where the command is, eventually you realize the peoples that had passed you beforehand stop. And everybody else is kind of like coming up and almost like slinking or accordioning up together. And then people just kind of go about and start setting up their tent poles and setting up everything. And you know that you're probably at about a dozen miles at most from where Rid is. On, of course, this side of the river, across the river from Rid. They just start setting up their tents and start laying down camp and whatnot over here. And you're just kind of like, okay, this is a lot of people and they're not very far. You had heard rumors beforehand that they can act as raiders outside of villages. And now you can see why it is that they could easily raid villages and just retreat. And there's not much anybody can do about it. You look to find the commanders. It doesn't take too terribly long after the hour or so of them stopping traveling and then starting to set up before they look to speak with you. The first tent that's set up is a large one. And you can imagine this is the tent that is the kind of like the council or whatnot. That's
Feed
here.
us. Feed us meat.
Where is us?
Meat roasted on the fire.
Where is... Scrolling upwards. Just gonna find something really quick. No. One second, I'm sorry. Just gotta find something really quickly, and then we're gonna have you walking into... There it is. Oh,
I
no.
thought you were pretending to be ladies that you propositioned, Scott.
No, I found the wrong one. Here we go. Yep. Okay. So as you go walking into to meet with this this group here, like I said, there's a large tent that clearly is meant to be like kind of like a council tent. And when you're asking people about, it's like, oh, where is it we're supposed to go? It's like, oh, the first tent they're setting up, the big one, you know. And you kind of go over there and meet them. One of the things I do want to say is that the demographic you see here is the demographic is predominantly human, followed immediately by half-orc, which makes one kind of feel at home seeing so many of them. But there's definitely like a good number of Perrin.
We're human and half-orc.
Correct. There's definitely a good number of Perrin and hobgoblins here as well, but even a couple of the other races kind of integrated in here too. When you go over to the actual tent, and I imagine you actually bring your group with you because nobody seems to care about your army of 50. When you go over to the tents to kind of ask to speak with the leaders that are in the guards, and I use that term kind of loosely, outside the tent, say, no, they're busy. You can kind of take over from here.
We had agreed to meet them previously. Would you let them know that we've arrived?
Oh, they're talking about you.
I see. Perhaps you would be so bold as to impress upon them the time that we have at our disposal is not unlimited.
It's a lot of fancy talk.
Just say it word for word. Can't go wrong.
Well, okay.
Or
Yeah.
Alternatively, you could say, we don't have much time.
All right. He goes
And apologize for the rudeness.
He looks at one of the other, again, I use the term guards loosely. The other guard just shrugs. He goes to walk in, and you hear, what? Like from inside the tent, what? Occupied. They can wait. And then he's like, and then he comes out, and he's like, yeah, when we set up camp, first thing they do is they meet, and they meet for a couple of hours to plan stuff out, and then they will speak with you. Perhaps you're earlier than they expected. Feel free to walk about and see what we have to offer. There's shops and supplies.
Any food?
Food, yes, food. Women, definitely women and men. If you've the coin for it.
My men have fought a battle recently. It was bloody and it was tiring. They and their mounts are tired. We intend to hopefully hire you, lovely folk, for a sizable sum. Perhaps you would see fit to provide the men with a feast of sorts.
They might be talking about that right now.
Oh, really? Oh, well, they seem very well organized then. Perhaps.
In the meantime, point us in the direction of the things you mentioned.
He's like, yeah, you just kind of head to the back of the camp. You'll have a spot over there where you'll see kind of like all the tents setting up, and people will look to trade. They'll trade before the tent's up if you go and talk to them. They're always looking for a quick coin, nice and early. So, and you guys,
I bet they like that coin quick.
And you guys can head that direction. And they weren't lying. I mean, kind of like heading over that way for those that do and those that don't, whatever. There are literally shops here with stuff that you can procure, that you can purchase. There are literally weapons, armor. Nothing is new. Everything is used, but certainly of decent quality. You also find there's literally like an apothecary where there's potions and whatnot that are being set out to be sold. And there's even an area where scrolls can be purchased too, because I know they're hard to get your hands on, but there are people here that actually sell scrolls.
Scroll man.
Scroll man, come together with your pen. Scribe me. Scribe me.
You know the old
Chris
magic
Cornell
hot
for
sword,
you.
the old magic hot sword I got.
The magic.
Can I?
Sorry?
Magic hot sword. The magic hot sword.
Magic hot sword. I'm sorry. I was thought you were saying console. I was like, what is he saying? Cut sword. Hot sword. Hot sword. Yes.
Yep. Can I attempt to identify it, or can I get one of the individuals here to?
You with I believe in Pathfinder with detect magic. If you can cast that, you can attempt to identify it with a spellcraft check.
Oh, I can do detect old magic. Whoop.
Yeah, it's like around third round. You can get the school.
Damn.
Evocation is
Evocation
is the
oh my God,
one
it's
of the
a sword of
fire.
fire.
Is it one of the things that you can kind of pick up from it? Evocation.
Do they have like a person who deals in magical precious items that would just be able to actually tell me what this sword is? I'm presuming they do.
So you're asking. I'm so sorry. I got distracted for like literally as you were asking that question one more time, and I'm sorry.
Do they have an individual who would be able to actually identify this sword?
So when you go to the scroll area, the guy, the lady inside there says, "What's that? Identifying? Yeah, I can help you with that. I've got a scroll over here to do it. I can both sell you the scroll and read it if you'd like. It doesn't cost any extra to have me read it for you."
I don't know whether it identifies on my spell list. If it identifies on my spell list, I'm happy to do it. If it's not, I'm not. Bear with me one moment while I've just got to check my book. Just got to read my book. Okay.
Come together with your hair.
Mage's spell list. I don't think identifies on that. We'll see.
I get it right here. First level spells. HI Infernal identifies not on your spell list.
No. Let's get this lovely friendly lady to identify then.
Sure.
How much for?
She says the scroll itself is a 110 gold.
Jeez.
Well, it's very expensive materials that are involved in identifying. You know, even just this is a discounted price, you know, because you're my first customer. Usually I would sell something like this for 225 gold. I mean, if you prefer, I could charge you the 225 gold, but I thought the 110 was being very kind.
Just saying. Have you ever served a king before?
Depends on which realm.
This realm.
Are you saying that you're a king? I don't see a crown.
Crowns are an outdated concept.
What year is it? She's like, So you're asking me to serve a king, then?
For the small price of 80 gold.
For the small price of 80 gold. Yeah, okay, she says, and she goes over to like the edge of the tent, and she drops the tent so that the doors kind of like flap shut, and she starts like unbuttoning her blouse and says, "Is he gonna watch, or is he paying 80 as well?" And she starts undoing her blouse.
Perhaps you could
One starts laughing.
read the scroll.
I'll do that as well, of course. 110 for the scroll, though.
No.
Do you want me to unfasten those for you? She says, pointing at your trousers.
You misunderstand, my good woman. I requested for 80 gold for the scroll.
Okay. I think you and I have a misunderstanding. I thought you were looking for two different transactions here.
Yes, I understand that now. I regret to inform you I don't have time for any such diversions as of the moment, though I am flattered by your offer.
No, honestly, I thought I was going to have to bust out a scroll of prestidigitation because you do look rather worn on the road.
Yes, dreadfully covered in blood. Probably wouldn't be for the best. But, however...
She nods, buttoning her blouse back up.
Seeing
One interjects and says, 50 gold for you to identify that without the top.
She now looks confused. She says, "Are the two of you having a go at me? It's 110 for the scroll, and I'm willing to read it for you."
Look, it would appear that my friend here has embarrassed me into paying the full price. Could we call it a flat 100 gold?
She goes over behind to the counter is not fully set up yet, but she goes over behind like where it's meant to be lying down and pulls out like a little chest and opens it up and pulls out a small pearl and places it on the counter and says, "Do you know what that is?"
It is a requirement for the spell.
It's a very fine pearl, sea pearl even. Came all the way up from the southern reaches of Paradel. It's worth 100 gold in and of itself. Now that's just the pearl. That doesn't include the expertise to then take the powdered pearl and place it into the inks and onto the scroll, or the expertise of one to read that scroll. I think now it's 115 gold, and please don't barter with me any further.
We'll pay the 110 gold.
Wherein, just pay the woman.
Yes, I will pay the 110 gold. She has explained to me why she requires the payment of 110. I am understanding now.
She nods and says, "There may have been a misunderstanding. I'll accept 110. I thought you were from Malta, but considering they're losing left and right every battle they come across, perhaps their training of magics is a little bit weaker than it used to be." And as she...
Do you think that's really necessary?
I thought your embarrassing me was unnecessary, but
People are dying.
She shrugs and says, "Yep, every day.
Children are dying. Starving.
Yeah.
The supply lines are cut.
It's terrible."
I'm sorry. I can't deal with this.
Give me the sword, please.
He won't. We're not paying the woman.
One turns and he'll walk away with you, and then he'll stop and he'll say, "Wherein,
Yes.
we need these people."
Yes,
Right.
we don't need her.
Even the way you spoke to the guards, I don't think these people are the same as those you dealt with in
No, they are not.
Forven, is it? Was it Forven? Leshev.
Leshev.
Yeah. They might take offense to the way you speak. I think you should be more blunt and to the point. Don't try and honey them. I don't think it'll work. I say this to you not to undermine you. Just, I'm used to dealing with this side of people as you are with the other.
That's fine. I understand.
I'm just not.
Do you guys go back
What
in
we
there?
do after the war?
Oh,
Hell no.
No, just go ahead.
One just says, if we manage to gain their employ, you only have to suffer through it, hopefully, until the end of the war, and then we can go our separate ways.
I don't mind these people. There's nothing wrong with what they did or what she said. She made to me a valid point about the price of her item, and then she insulted my people who are suffering and dying for the very thing that these people cherish most, freedom. She may have these values at her heart, but she lacks not the intelligence to understand what it means.
No, she does. She does not. I dare say a lot of them, myself included, are not as intelligent as yourself, and these concepts will come harder to them.
Nonsense, one. One doesn't have to be as book learned as I am to be as wise as you are. You've shown restraint on so many occasions now that calling yourself unintelligent would be quite a dishonor.
Not unintelligent, just not as intelligent as you, Raven.
Your words, not mine.
He nods. It might give you a little bit of a flex.
So he
let's go find
flexes
somewhere
his
to go.
forearm, and it's like the size of Rayron's waist.
Let's go find somewhere to get a drink.
And so
That's good.
you go get a drink elsewhere. And so that's funny. I thought you were gonna go back and talk to her. I was like, I had one more retort, but I don't get to
Fuck
use
that
it.
bitch. She literally was just like,
She literally
"Hey,
was gonna
man,
let you fuck that
people are
bitch.
dying."
So anyways, you guys go get a drink, and one of the things that you notice when you go to get the drink is they're selling you alcohol. There's no problem with that. But you also notice that a couple of the peoples in the tavern are also looking to sell a little bit more. Whether it be the alcohol that you're looking to purchase, somebody comes over and, like I said before, and a couple of ladies will come over and look to sell their services as well. If you look to turn them down, you'll actually have a couple of gentlemen slowly make their way over and look to sell you their services. When you turn them down too, like what is going on here? Then somebody else will end up coming over and offering you guys like, so the war, it's a rough time, isn't it? If only you can escape from it for a little while. He says, kind of like placing a small like wooden like container of like some sort of salve or whatever onto the table that you guys are sitting at. I can tell you this stuff is pure. It'll really take you away for a while.
Raven looks to one. There's a look of like he may have had enough of these people.
One says, how much?
He says, depends on exactly how far you're looking to go.
Pretty far.
All right.
How much we talking?
He looks at you. He looks at you and says, you're kind of a big guy. You're going to need a little bit more than a little, if you know what I'm saying.
Just give me a price. How much?
He nods and says, for you, I'd probably take 3 doses, 45 gold.
Mon, this doesn't seem like a good plan considering our plans for later in the day.
Don't worry, I'm buying this as a present for Beltran. And he's going to shell out 45 gold for whatever this is.
Okay.
He'll probably ask exactly what it does, though. He will ask that.
just oh yeah, I just bought nondescript drugs to shove in the prisoner against his will.
He says, Keith.
Are you insulting me, Neil?
No,
He
I
says,
would never. Not after that pork belly you sent. Oh my god.
he said, it's,
That was good.
he says, Keith.
Can I roll to know what that is? Because I have no fucking.
So Keith is, yeah, you would be a knowledge, nature check.
No, okay.
YOLO. Nailed it. Boom.
And then immediately afterwards, I look over, like, just at my, and then all of a sudden I see, oh God, what's his name? From Cheers. Oh, I can't remember his name. just suddenly appear on stream right as I was looking. It was so funny. Ted Danson.
From
Ted
Cheers.
Danson, thank you. From Cheers.
Not from Cheers.
From Cheers.
He's explicitly not
Cheers! Like, hey, have a drink, mate. Cheers. Cheers.
It's from The Good Place.
No, Cheers.
Which is appropriate given.
No, Cheers. It's a bar in Boston. Okay? It's what I grew up with. So anyways, it's actually a drug, keef is, that when you take in this drug, which is, I believe, ingestion, you can either inhale it or ingest it. It gives you a bonus to strength temporarily. And it also makes you more susceptible to like illusions and mind affecting effects. However, after a while, it does wipe you out and make you fatigue, and it does, of course, harm your minds temporarily after that. There's like a come down effect, as you can imagine.
Okay, nice.
But it sends you off to the moon, but makes you stronger too.
So PCP.
One would also fork out some money for some of the men if they wish to imbibe in the, not the drug, but the other part.
Oh, yeah, they can have alcohol, but not the drugs. Jesus, come on.
Yep.
I was talking about the
latest,
the men and women, whatever they prefer.
I mean, do you want to offer for all 50 of your men? Because if that's the case, then I would say if you're offering for them, but you don't want to go top dollar, we can just say you shell out 250 gold pieces.
Yeah,
Okay.
I'll take that off.
Sure.
Jesus.
And you
no wonder the men love him. It's not like we need that gold for negotiations or anything soon.
So then, at time passes, you guys buy the keef. Don't ingest it or inhale it.
I do not. I'm not involved in this keef.
Yes, you are. It is known that the rulers of Valoran purchase drugs and hire whores. So,
I am not okay. Hey, we support the sex industry. Right. We are a sex positive culture.
And so Neil wants to buy something called Slaver's Drops. That's what he wants to buy.
I don't know what that is.
It gives people penalties to will saves, but a bonus on perception checks.
Interesting.
So anyways, moving on. You guys, eventually the time passes, and they finally call you to meet inside the tent, the head tent. Like somebody comes over and says, "You lot, you're the leaders, right? The champions, I think it's called."
Yes, chosen.
Come. You're being summoned.
Let's go.
So the two of you, sorry, I was waiting for one of you guys to respond. The two of you go to into the leader's tent. So when you go into there, one of the things you notice is, of course, it's a much larger tent. The tent on the inside, from the outside, is like, it's actually two layers of tents that you see there. It's just literally like an outer tent and an inner tent, with a kind of like maybe like a foot and a half gap between the two of them. You imagine that kind of like airspace right there almost acts as like an insulation to keep the cold at bay, keep the rain at bay, and so on and so forth. So when you go inside the inner tent, it's one of the driest that you've been while in the outdoors. Technically it's indoors, but you know what I mean, in a long time. It's actually already pretty warm in there, probably warmed up by the body heat for the many hours of however many people were in there before. However many people were in there before is no longer how many are in there now, though, because what you instead see is that there are 3 persons inside the tent. Namely, there is a woman that is sitting right there and set before you. But skins and decorations and everything all around the inside of this tent, of course. You know, you can imagine there's a comfortable place to sit on the floor in front of where this woman is sitting. She's a female half-orc that happens to be sitting there. You can see next to her, there's another person that's sitting there. They look to be a parent. They're sitting immediately next to her. And then also in like the back part, like a little bit behind her and off to the side, they look a little occupied doing their own thing. There's a human that's there. But he's doing his own stuff, but he doesn't seem to be really paying attention to you as you're walking in. The two of you come walking in, and she sees you and says, "Come, sit."
Sure.
Come sit down.
As soon as the two of you sit down, she says, "Chosen of Valoran, thank you for calling for this meeting. I'm sure there is much that can be discussed. I'm sure there is many deals that can be made between your people and mine. From what I understand, you've gotten yourself into a bit of mischief, and you're looking to have us help you get out of it.
Help
That
us
would be
crush it.
one way of putting it.
So, since this is a meeting that you've called, I want you to begin.
First off, I need to pee, and I'm afraid I can't diplomatize while my bladder.
No, I understand. I'm sure you've enjoyed the taverns quite a bit. Yes, you've had a few.
Very
few
nice
drinks.
drink. Yes, lovely, fantastic. Yes.
Of course. So why don't we actually excuse this meeting for just one moment, so you may empty your bladder. In the meanwhile, I'm going to sit here and admire the majesty of the man that you have brought with you. Hey. All right, everybody, we'll be back in just.
7.
We'll be back in just one moment.
Thank you.